Alright, sorry about that whole thing. I have to start all over. Anyways, let me show you how I put it in together. Okay. Alright, so here's the deal with the kickback. The kickback is simply just a matter of taking this and pushing it. There we go. So that's how the kickback works. You don't have to take anything out, just push in here, and that releases a little notch to slip it in. So let's see if I can do it. And there we go. And once it's in there, just go ahead and there it is. So there it goes. Now it's locked in. That's how that works. So there you go. So I did all that just to. The diagram's just very misleading on this, just to let you know. So you don't even have to take this apart, just has to do that. And then as far as this goes, you want to see the arrows here. These arrows here, you want this to point up. You want this to be pointing up, and it's just a matter of just taking this, grabbing it right here, taking this part and slipping it in here. There's a narrow slit over here where there's a little bar. There we go. It's another thing you push that will lock it into place. And then there we go. There we go. There we go. That locks it into place. So I'll give you a little demonstration here. Just take it, cut it. Same thing here. Take it and cut it. Now, I'm probably not going to be using this because I'm just used to not having it anyway, and I think it kind of gets in the way. And it's another problem is this blade here is designed to, it's not straight either. That's my other problem. And when I'm cutting, the board's gonna, I know what's gonna happen is as I'm cutting it, it's gonna, oh, it didn't get stuck here. Let's see here, start it again. Yeah, see, it's gonna get stuck right here because the blade here, let's see if I can show it. It's gonna get stuck as I'm cutting. It's gonna just get stuck here, and I'm gonna and then it's gonna be off because it's not set up. And I notice this guy scratches a lot. Anyways, really, you don't, in my opinion, you don't really need this if you're if you're cutting it straight. It should go through really good without a problem. And then yeah, having a push stick helps. That's going to be a big help to it. But as long as you are cutting straight, perpendicular, or at a 90, whatever, if the blade is set up correctly along your fence or your miter slide or whatever, it should go in real smooth. And if I remove this, okay, you'll see that it's crooked, and that's kind of why I'm gonna, should be like this. There's probably an adjustment for it, but I just can't seem to, you know, I'm just not gonna do it anyway. So anyways, I might adjust it, but I really want to take it off because it really, all this stuff just gets in the way of me looking over and making sure that I'm getting a straight cut. So most likely I won't use it. So anyways, take it for what it is. That's just something I'm just going to do. If you want to go ahead and use all this stuff, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being safe. Absolutely. I believe I was telling you earlier how I almost cut my finger off. Almost, anyway. So, anyway, I'm just going to lower this down and kind of just walk over some of the things that I did. Let me just come in here and just lower this here. Let's see how it just goes down. There we go. You could just set it that way. Even this, I mean, it's still crooked. So you can see you can really see how crooked that is. Anyways, it's let me see, the rubber, there was some rubber pieces. They go right here, if you can see that at the bottom. I'll get a screwdriver so I can point that out to you a little bit better. Right here, you just stick them in, and it's a nice little rubber feet, I guess, and it just, as you notice, it doesn't slide like it did before, and it probably reduced a lot of vibration up against the stand here. And the stand is finally built, and what I did is I took out the legs. It was kind of too high. It was up to here on the lowest setting on the legs, and I just felt it was a little too high, because what I like to do is as I'm going in, I like to kind of look over where the blade would be, right around here, or to the side, and just make sure the cut is going through and following a path, I guess, and that it's straight. Of course, you gotta wear some goggles. I usually wear a face shield. That really helps a lot. And another thing is, I'm probably going to have a table saw sled. There, if you're kind of curious, that's right over there. That's the sleds I built for the previous table saw, which I sold. It was a very old Delta, 13 amps, I believe. So a little bit under, 2 horsepower, I believe. So this is a 15 amp, which equates to 2 horsepowers. What I did like is if I wanted to use this, the guard, I forgot what you call this middle piece here, it's a little bit narrower. So that's the nice part about it. The only thing you have to be careful is when you do 45, when you start doing bevel cuts. And by the way, what I did is So you can see I did take the legs off, and there it is, and it works out. It looked like it would be a little low because it's only right here, but as you see, when you put this table saw on, it's quite a bit of table saw here, and then it comes up to here, which it feels right. It's down just a little bit below my waist, right here. You can see that, just a little bit below my waist, and but that's I think that's good because after I put my table sled on, it's going to be a little bit higher. But I was thinking, you know, and another thing is the reason I took off the legs is I want to save them. I don't want to use them right now and then damage them. If something else happens or I have another tool, you know, I could still use this. And another thing is I saved, by taking these off, I saved a whole bunch of screws. And I believe these are carriage bolts and washers. And I noticed when I put these on, you know, it's the best way to tighten them is when you go in and, you know, do your final setup, is use the screwdriver to hold it in place, and then use the socket wrench to tighten, and then you get a little bit more torque and out of that, and you'll be able to turn that nut much better. And I haven't put the plywood in yet. I mean, when you put the stand on, it's pretty sturdy. I haven't even bolted the table saw to the stand yet, and it's, you know, feels pretty sturdy as is. A lot has to do with this rubber feet that you know came with it. You just put it in, and there's a little space to it, and you just shove it in there, and it's really tight. And there's a hole for it, so you can put your bolt in. I'm gonna have to drill some holes into the stand, but I thought the stand would. I mean, it almost fits perfectly on here. And I thought this was kind of made for it, but there's no holes for the table saw, which is kind of weird. But anyways, this height and the table saw works good, so I kind of left it this way. My last table saw was pretty much set up like this. So I think it's going to work just fine. Anyway, this is the overall view of it. Another thing I noticed, which I did like a lot, was you see this right here? You can see this, but you could push it in, and there's some grooves in here. Let's see if you can see the better view of that. There's some grooves right here. So you just release. I'm going to lower it down a little bit, actually. Let me lower it down because there's not enough space in here to really put a lot of bevel. Let's move that blade here, but I'm just going to move it down so I can show you what I'm talking about. If you release this lever or loosen this up, if you push in, it actually somehow the mechanism releases the blade from going up and down to moving with the bevel, and it follows those little grooves, and it's so much easier to do that now. That's the feature that I really like, because it just makes it easy. You're not pulling on anything. Let me see. Do this with one hand. Okay. So you push it in, and then you can go to a 0, or you can go to any degree. I haven't calibrated this yet. That might be the last series in which I do. But then you can go to the other, which is the 45. So doing this it's just so much easier doing that. And then from here, just simply lock it right into place. Lock it tight too. There we go. It takes a while to really turn this thing. I wish it was a little bigger, considering all the room that they got, but that's alright. And so I'm going to raise it. And I feel like this handle's pretty big, that I can just grab it and just turn, and it turns really well. The only downside about this table is, and this could be just all tables in general, but this table's not even. Yeah, that's a big drawback with this table. I have here a handy dandy straight edge and a level, but I'll use the flat side here just to make a point. Well, I'll just put it on right now, and it's rocking. So that means it's kind of, the middle is higher and the edges are lower. Sorry. See that? See, I'm pushing one side, pushing another, pushing both. So the middle here is higher than the edges. That can be a little problem, especially, if you're trying to put, if you got something here and you're trying to cut something and it's moving around on you, it's not ideal. So that's the only problem that I have. That's kind of like a major problem, because to have the table, you're making the blade perpendicular to the table. Now if the table is bowed, you have a problem, because one side is going to be different than the other side, and that's kind of not good. It may not make a difference, just a slight, it probably makes some difference. Maybe from here to here, it's doing it, but maybe from here to here, it's not a problem. And from here to here, it's not a problem, but together it just doesn't work out. So anyways, I'm going to use a table sled, both for ripping and for crosscut. I'm going to make it, for the crosscut, I'm going to make it wider. For the ripping, I'm going to make it, longer this way. This table, all these little tables are just really, unless you're cutting something, if I'm cutting this, yeah, this table's big enough. But if I'm trying to cut, something like longer than 4 feet, and I'm ripping, and then I'm at the edge, it just tends to just tilt over. So having a little support over the edge helps. Same thing with crosscut. When you got a little longer piece, it doesn't dangle and wants to. The board doesn't want to do this. So while you're cutting it, you're just not getting a straight cut. So I got a lot of plywood here. I think I can make, you know, a sled out of them. My previous sled doesn't work because the measurement from here to here is different. So what I can use, you know, salvage them. What I'll use them for is basically I can take them and just cut them, and I could use one side to make a table set. So I can use this to use this slot and have it cut here in the middle. And what that can do is, you know, you can do a lot. You can I can make 45. I can make a straight cut out of an uneven piece. You know, for example, let's say this is rough wood and it's just squiggly. I can take a table sled from this one side and it doesn't have to be any way. But once I pass it through, I got a straight cut. And then I just turn it over on the other side, and whatever it comes out to, I could pass it through again, and then all of a sudden I got a nice straight, you know, perpendicular, parallel cuts here. That's one thing I can do. Another thing is I can make a 45, have a cut it through into a 45. So I have my board with the piece on the bottom to go along this slot, and then put a 45 angle, so I can just come here and just cut it through. So, and some other ideas I have for it, using some other techniques I had to use, and especially with a small table and cutting large pieces of plywood. These are all 44. They're not 48 inches. They're all about 44 by 44 inches. And you know, trying to cut something this big on this is difficult. So I had to be a little creative in how I can, you know, cut them into smaller pieces with a straight cut, or matching another board to this. Even though if you measured it and you cut it, there's always that slight difference. But you know, this isn't precision machinery, but you know, I want it to be a precision machinery. So without spending the money anyway, and it's possible to get very close. Not as good as maybe a very expensive, you know, stationary table saw, but you can do a very good job of getting close to that. It won't be that, but you know, for the money you paid, you'll be surprised. You'll surprise yourself. So that's some of the things I wanted to bring you up to speed on. As soon as I take off that blade in the back, I don't know what they call it. Anyways, my mind's coming to a blank. I usually don't have it on, that's why I don't even know what it's called. But anyways, hopefully that brought you up to speed. I'll still do another video, and that'll be another probably towards the end of this episode series of calibrating the blade to table. But I've told you already that the table is not straight. So anyways, I hope you learned a lot. You know, getting the stand and this particular table saw takes quite a bit of time to set up. I'm still not even done setting up because I still got to calibrate the blade to the table to get a straight cut. Change all these little measurements here. I'm probably not going to use this fence, but I'll still do it anyway. I want to calibrate the fence to the blade, so I have to unscrew these and make adjustments to that. Adjust this so that when this is 0, it's on 0, not 0 and a couple degrees off or a lot of degrees off. So I still gotta, a lot of things for me still to do here. A lot of things here for me to do, but this will definitely take you a day, or even half a day. I was talking a lot and figuring things out, doing things kind of slowly, but the stand, I think, takes up most of your time, unless you know how you want it done, or which I didn't know until you put it together. It's really hard to determine, what you want to do until you kind of put it together. Then figure out, well, I need to take this off, I need to change this, I need to do that. And like I said, this is out of the box new for me. I haven't worked with this piece of machinery. I read the manual, but that's about it. And the manual didn't really help. It actually misled me in a lot of ways. So that's another thing to be wary about. And hopefully that'll speed up the setup time for you guys. Other than that, I mean, it looks great. I still gotta use it, cut it, but I have it. Here it is. I'm gonna make the best of it. How would I rate this so far? I would say it's good. It just took a long time. It wasn't as fast as some of the other things I've done, but it's good. It's new. Still eager to try it out. I like the stand, though. I think the stand is really nice because I can adjust it if I wanted to. I can use it for other, it's not dedicated to this table saw. I can use it for other things. So overall, it's a universal stand. I could put rollers on the bottom. There's some things I could do, modify it a little bit more. It states in the instructions for the stand to put plywood on the bottom here, but this is so similar to what I had last time. It didn't have any plywood. It was just as flimsy as my old stand. Not saying this is flimsy because once you have the table saw on it, it's not very flimsy, but as far as what it's like, it was just like my old stand. Because if it's not my old stand, it's a different stand. So taking that consideration, the stand worked out. It just took a long time for it. The table saw, the only drawback I see, quite a few drawbacks actually, but the table is just not straight. That's going to be an issue. Other than that, it's like I said, for the money here, it's worth a shot. It's definitely worth doing, and to me, it's worth doing. I like taking things that people would consider not even touching, and giving it a try, because I really feel sometimes if it was just the machine that made the difference, then everyone would buy $1,000 machine. But ironically, you know, if everyone was given $1,000 machine or 2,000, 3,000, whatever, $1,000,000 machine, give it to a certain, you know, certain people, you would still get different results. So I think the person makes a difference in the results, as well as the machine. It helps, but ultimately it's got to be you who's making those cuts, and you coming up with ideas on you know, whatever, you know, anything you have to overcome, whether it's the saw, the blade itself, the fence, the miter, you know, the miter guides, whatever. It's just gonna, you know, not always be perfect out of the box. So that's, you know, take it for what it's worth, and, you know, my input to you guys, and just, you know, take it or leave it, whatever, hope it helps somehow. Nothing wrong with getting $1,000 table saw. If I could, I would, and, you know, I wouldn't mind, but yeah, I don't have a couple $1,000s to just put a big table saw around here, you know. I mean, I barely have room now. I gotta just cut up all this cardboard. I'm sorry, not cardboard, plywood. So it's you know, like I said, for the money, this is good. I don't have a problem with it. I give it a good rating. That's not excellent because it just took a long time. A few minor issues with it. Major issue is just not being really straight. It's kind of bowed, bowing up in the middle here. But I was gonna put a table sled on it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Give you a roundabout look on this here. So I'll be doing more, probably a few more episodes on this till the series finale episode. But if you liked it, stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.